At first, on the first day of class, I would share my testimony and talk about my interest in these businesses. And it would be the glazed eye. They just didn't understand, never heard any stories about this before. And so the first couple of years or so, it seemed like it was a slow go. But eventually, we started to see. I teach introductory econ, the first courses to freshmen, and so a lot of freshmen coming in with, oh yeah, that's my parents. I grew up in China, or I grew up in,
Mm.
this place or that place, and my parents are doing that, or I know people that, and it's getting, widespread attention. So that felt better. Uh, and yeah, so I think there's more awareness of it, and it's just a matter of local churches being able to engage that and take them and shake them and help them you know uh, have the greatest impact they can have.
Yeah, when you think about it, and I know we're kind of preaching to each other, but that's what these that's what these sessions are about anyway, is that this sharing our hearts. But I know I see my local church and almost all local churches. I mean, the overwhelming majority of the people that are sitting in the congregation are working. They may not own businesses, but they are working people. They're employees, they're managers. Maybe they own a company. I mean, it's not even an 80-20 rule. It's kind of a 95-5 rule. Um, and if a church can engage that, think of the resources that get released into the ecosystem. Um, I think about the church I was in Atlanta for many, many years, and I took the pastor to Kyrgyzstan with me back
Mm.
in the early 2000s, and it was a huge blessing for him because he finally began to see, wow, because we were a bunch of business people. He said, we're never missionaries. He was amazed, but he was blessed. He was encouraged. But he turned it around and it opened doors for him to minister to Kyrgyz believers and Kyrgyz seekers that he would have never had any other way. So it was
Mm.
everybody, it was an enormous blessing. And I see that and I think, wow, if more churches could just get that connection. I remember, my mentor when I was in seminary was Howard Hendricks, and of course you knew Howie, and he would tell us that ministry. He was thinking primarily church ministry, but it's universal. Ministry is a lot like football. You had 22 men on the field in desperate need of rest, and 80,000 people in the stands in desperate need of exercise. And his whole point was that we could just get
Mhm.
out of the stands. And so that's kind of been my mantra for the last 35 years is, if we could just find a way to remove the barriers that business
Mhm.
people feel, they're artificial,
Mhm.
but they feel them and they feel
Yeah.
very, very real and very uh, uh, sort of threatening almost that you can't really get engaged because you're not a pastor or a missionary. But when you see somebody jump over that and they get on the field and they start realizing I can play this game too, it's game changer for everybody. How do
Yeah.
we how do we help make that happen, Steve?
Yeah, boy. uh Whenever I had the opportunity to have a pastor in a class or something like that, I mean, I would encourage them to maybe carve out some time during the week to go visit one of their business people,
Mm,
members, and see what their day is like. Spend an afternoon and see what are their challenges and what are the temptations or the frustrations that they deal with.
so go to their workplace. Go see
Yeah,
them where
yeah.
they okay.
I mean, we know pastoral visitation is common for hospitals and other contexts, and why isn't this a more normal activity? And I've heard feedback occasionally from people who have said that's been a good experience. Not everyone can go to Kyrgyzstan, I suppose.
No, not weekly anyway.
Yeah. I've been tempted to take groups to overseas, but yeah, that'll have to be in the future, I suppose.
So, Steve, I'm curious when you've been like we were talking about in the beginning. You've really been right into the movement before it was a movement. And so you've seen a lot, you've learned a lot, you've contributed a lot. Not by the way, just in the books you've written, but in the classes you've taught. I know you and I worked together in the early days of the BAM Global Congress in 2013. You were in the work group out in California, helping to think through what are the issues that we all needed to address. So you've been there, and for so many years. You've seen so many things happen. uh, what do you see today? And this is a delicate question, but so I know you'll answer it honestly, but also thoughtfully. What do you see as the issues facing the movement, and obviously the church too? We never want to do this in a way that leaves the church out. Uh, to me, it's got to be together in some way. But what do you see? What are the challenges that you're looking at that make you shake your head a little bit and wonder?
Hmm. I'm in such a transitional stage of my own life. I was immersed in Biola where practically everybody in that campus, all the academics, I mean, bought into this idea of all work, all life ministry.
Hmm.
It's not just what, those few times you get to evangelize somebody. It's your whole life. And you know, I started thinking, boy, this is, the whole church is really buying into this. And now I'm less confident about that. I've just been away from that environment for a year. I'm still meeting. I have to say, I don't know everything that's going on here in Pennsylvania, but it's just, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit more lonely here, as in terms of that work faith kind of discussion. So, but I get encouragement from what's happening. I know I shouldn't keep mentioning Biola, but I mean, I know they have an AI center now that's really starting to, so they're looking at not just business, but also this, artificial intelligence and
Hmm.
faith and how to, how can these three things kind of work together and the faith driven entrepreneurship. I just think uh, the technology is advancing so quickly, and it's a matter of keeping the people engaged too. And so we still need pastors there, and we need